Freunde, im heutigen Video schauen wir uns mal 99 Dinge an, die heimlich von Fortnite entfernt worden sind oder komplett geändert. Das Video ist von Top 5 Gaming und von PBJ. Checkt die unbedingt mal ab, die machen geisteskranken Content. Okay, es geht los.
After 6 years, Fortnite Remix secretly changed this item and nobody noticed. But what about a location that'll cause the memories to flood back? Let's head over to the infamous waterfall. Everyone used to dive off this thing and immediately meet their doom.
Ja, aber das runtergesprungen war einfach tot. Lob.
Except this has been secretly changed in Fortnite Remix.
So.
Now, if you swim off the waterfall and realize somebody's placed the floor, something different will happen.
Jetzt überlebt er. Hä?
Come on, Epic, what gives?
Was?
And recently we got the addition of the coolest mythic of Chapter 5, the Rap God minigun. Except if you feel like it, you could secretly turn this into a regular old minigun. Just turn off the copyrighted sounds and not only will the audio be silent,
Ja,
it
das
even removes the lyrics.
Ganz normale wieder. Guck mal, nicht mehr der Text ist da.
And one of the weirdest changes, we all logged into the new season and found sentry cameras all over places like the doghouse. Obviously, it was a core part of the Chapter 2 areas, and disguising as a henchman would usually get you straight through. Except, after just 24 hours, Fortnite secretly removed the cameras, and we still don't know why. Now, one of the biggest differences between Remix and Chapter 2 is vehicles. Not only were cars nowhere to be found in the original Spy season, but it also meant you couldn't find car mods like Chonker's tires.
Stimmt.
Well, both are in Remix right now, with a chance of getting a truck with Chonkers already on it. Now, you probably didn't realize that an entire movement feature was removed. Barely anyone used this in Chapter 5, but clambering was a way to let you basically parkour.
Das geht jetzt nicht mehr, oder was?
It was almost never practical in real games, and I think Fortnite realized that when designing the remix map, removing any chance of clambering. Maybe it'll be back in Chapter 6, but I don't think we'll see the mythic goldfish again.
Man kann doch
You see,
klettern, oder
in our
nicht?
last video, we covered how Fortnite secretly brought back this item, and considering it is one of the rarest weapons in Fortnite history, barely anyone noticed. But did you know it's not that rare anymore? Epic have changed the odds of finding one, toning it down from the ridiculous 1 in a million chance to just 1 in 10,000. But some updates have to be demanded by fans. When Sabrina Carpenter's Espresso emote came out, it was one of the most anticipated dances of Chapter 5, only for Epic to immediately ruin it.
Das ist so Müll gewesen, das stimmt.
Everyone was asking why they would speed up such an iconic song. They completely missed the mark. And in a shocking turn of events, Fortnite ended up removing the emote from the shop just hours later. Pretty rare for Backlash to make a new cosmetic just vanish like that. And all this happened a few weeks ago. Now there's an update. When the store refreshed, there it was, the fixed espresso dance.
Siehst du, du musst ein bisschen haten? Und dann machen die, was sie wollen.
Firsts, there's a feature that has remained untouched for half a decade. I'm talking about supply drops. Now, sure, they've been vaulted and changed throughout the years, but the core mechanic itself has been exactly the same until today. Fortnite secretly changed these to interact with water. Before, it would just kind of land on the river and not move. But now, best get your running shoes on because you gotta chase it. You can't just get in the car, especially because they're all usable now. You might be saying, Tommy, they were always usable, but actually, you might have forgotten that when cars first dropped in Chapter 2, some of them randomly had boots on the wheels.
So dumm, ey.
One of the strangest decisions at the time would always be frustrating when you got excited to hop in a car, only for it to be a prop instead. Lucky for us, Epic knew how ridiculous this was and ended up removing the feature entirely, guaranteeing it doesn't happen in Remix either. That is just one of the weirdest decisions they've made. This time around, they brought back crash pads to Remix, and players already think they're useless, but wait until you hear about the way they made them even worse. Now, you can only pick up crash pads in a stack of 1. Already hard to find, what's the point? Things keep getting weird because slurpfish could only be found in vending machines. I'm not making this up. You can search every cooler in the game or go fishing for 7 straight hours. You ain't finding a slurpfish. What isn't cool is the removal of one of the best Chapter 2 Easter eggs. Let's head on over to Fancy View, where you can find a pretty standard house with nothing too out of the ordinary. Except this used to be the scene of a Ferris Bueller reference. It was super famous as we watched a car roll straight down the mountain, get picked up by a crane, which then also fell over, and the cycle continued. It was hilarious, and sadly those memories have been erased for the Remix Island. Probably because the car doesn't have enough gas to start. Even though the map is littered with vehicles right now, most of us keep running out of fuel because gas stations are basically non-existent. There's only a handful of them on the map because back in the Spy season, there weren't many to begin with. Now, some hidden changes are amazing, like Epic updating cars to secretly give you materials. You can now farm them, and you'll receive metal again, which was never possible in Chapter 5. Now,
Ja,
way more
lohnt sich
satisfying
trotzdem
to
nicht,
destroy your own
oder?
vehicle. If you're choosing to use a grappler instead of cars, you'll be pleased to hear they are now better than ever. In Chapter 5, they had 10 charges, and in the original Chapter 2, they had 15. Now,
Das haben
for
die geil
Remix,
gemacht.
they've been
Jetzt gibt's
upgraded
20
to 20
Ladungen.
charges,
Ich auch voll
letting you
gut.
get around easier than ever. Oh, and make sure to look around the map for some callbacks to the first ever season of the chapter. Most of the island has been themed around Season 2, yet there are ego outposts on the map which were quickly bulldozed back in 2020, and well, they've survived this time around, and it's pretty nice to see them after all these years. Sadly, we won't be able to see the grumpy greens bushes.
Wie
In the
cool.
past, this was a simple Easter egg that made a face, and not only did Fortnite delete the bushes, you can see the remnants of it still in the dirt. If anything, this
Wow.
is sadder than if nothing was here at all. Something you probably didn't notice disappearing is gold. It wasn't introduced until Season 5, so it makes sense that it's not here now either. It also means the whole system of talking with NPCs, purchasing items and services has been removed for now. The only NPCs left are Sky and the bosses if you're wearing a disguise. You still can't trade with them, but if you're lucky, you might just get a gift.
Und Sky
This
ist
also
wirklich
means that
stark.
vending machines have been
Rekrutiert die
quietly
mal.
reverted back to materials again. We last saw this in OG, and now it's back, making you choose between 3 items by pickaxing the screen before giving away your resources to buy it. Now I know what you're thinking, so how do they work in Zero Build? Well, they don't. In fact, they simply don't exist. Even if you do play build mode and find a vending machine, you'll still have to spend all your mats to get something. Back in 2020, the limit was set at $9.99 for every material, which meant spending $500 for a legendary item was still worth it. But since then, the
Ja,
limit has been
bestimmt.
halved. Means buying something for one of these means you lose so much more than
Vor allem hat der 999 hat's auch richtig gut gepasst wegen Juice WRLD.
consumables. We all know that med kits and shields now apply as you use them, even letting you move while you do it. Not only has this change stayed for Remix, but it's also been added to the Chug Jug. Now, still heals the same,
So
making you wait a
lustig,
whole
wenn du damit
15
rumläufst.
seconds, but hey, at least you can move while doing it. Not the only switch to consumables, because coolers are now worse than ever.
Die können gar
They
nichts
didn't even
mehr.
exist in Chapter 2, so it's already a big change, but they also used to give fish. Now, you open them up, they only drop veggies. Pretty useless change considering they used to be great for slurp fish and floppers, but now it's not worth it. Even the Midas touch has changed. Obviously, he's mixed
Wow.
with Meowscles, but that doesn't mean he has the same iconic power as the original. At first, it won't work, but look closely and you'll realize it's actually applied as wrap to the gun. Now, as you get a limbs, the gold will increase until the entire weapon is covered. The best part, it even stays when you drop it. Perhaps one of the most loved changes is the removal of projectile weapons. Finally, after a year of using guns with drop-off and having to relearn our aim, we have gone back to hit scan. Thanks to Chapter 2, all our weapons are exactly how we remember, with Epic leaving their old design. Whether this will carry over to Chapter 6 after Remix ends,
Übrigens, wenn ihr nicht wisst, was Hitscan ist, das heißt, die Kugel fliegt einfach gerade und hat keinen Bullet Drop, die fällt nicht einfach runter.
And if there's one vehicle they know we love, it's Choppas. These things have been teased for years to return, from helipads appearing, being shown off in trailers, and
Stimmt.
even updated specially
Kam gar
for
nicht vorletzte
seasons,
Season.
all for them to never get involved in. Finally, Remix has brought an excuse for Epic to bring them back, only to be trolled again. If you dropped at the weather station for the first day, you'd find the only Choppa spawn on the entire map. Great secret, until Epic found out and vaulted it.
Aber dann sind die wieder
Forced us to wait an extra
zurückgekommen.
week to finally get our hands on them. One of the strangest changes this season is the magical llamas. Not only have these been changed to an M&M design, but they're also spawning in the middle of matches. Players have been
Was?
in late game only to turn around
Echt?
and see a llama that wasn't there 5 seconds ago.
Okay, das ist
Pretty
aber ziemlich
weird,
cool
but also a great
irgendwie.
resupply and predicting the next circle. Now you might have loaded into a match and seen Spawn Island looks exactly like it did back in Chapter 2. And while you're not wrong, there is actually a difference. This place used to have a traffic control tower, which led to a giant underground base for Shadow. It's not all either. The other side of the building had a secret elevator to an entire base for Ghost next door. For some reason, this is completely missing in Remix, and maybe these factions are now just
Boah, diese
celebrities
beiden
and
Bots
not at
waren
war.
so
Not
cool
the only
damals.
strange change players have noticed, because Epic has somehow placed a single hut the wrong way. Over at Misty Meadows, one of the wooden fishing cabins is no longer facing the water. In fact, the dock doesn't even make sense now. How could they perfectly replicate the old map, but turn one hut 90 degrees?
Hat wahrscheinlich
One
einer
difference that does make
geschaffen.
sense, though, is the addition of extra zip lines across the map. Just like in OG, Epic had to account for zero build players by adding zip lines and ascenders to mountains. So if you're revisiting your favorite locations from 2020 and feel like a wire was never there, you're not going
Aber die
crazy.
Ziplines finde ich
You're also
richtig
not alone in
gut.
thinking the
Mobilität
bridges
ist
are a lot
alles
more
in
dangerous.
Fortnite.
Driving around the map, whenever you come to a concrete bridge, you'll notice there's no railings on the side.
Stimmt.
Before, these would have a walkway and guardrail, but now they just look weird. One of the most needed changes for Remix actually happened after launch. From day one, players noticed that the purple pump was
So krass krass, die waren überall auf der Karte, die Pumpguns. Haben die doch extra gemacht.
Also increasing the chance of finding lower quality pumps. Another big change is how the season will work. Last time we got OG, we went through a new season every single week, changing the weapons, items, even the map. This time around, it's the same deal, but when we reach Season 3, it's not.
Was findet ihr eigentlich besser? Das, was wir damals hatten in OG Kapitel 1 oder das, was wir jetzt haben? Leichte Map-Änderungen oder komplett neue Inhalte von neuen Seasons? Ich bin sehr gespannt drauf.
Chapter 2 is taking us back in time before these ever existed. While you can still apply your sports cars to the Whiplash, the Trail Smasher SUV is nowhere to be seen. So, if you bought the Behemoth or Cybertruck, you
Stimmt, du
can't
musst
even
jetzt einfach
use them
eine
in battle
Season
royale
warten, bis es
until next
zurückkommt.
season. The first time an entire cosmetic type has been removed from BR. The same goes for another Chapter 5 feature that players were just getting used to. Weapons mods were introduced last December, and now for Remix they have been completely
Hat halt
removed
keiner
to
mehr
make
benutzt die
room for
letzten
classic
Seasons. Es
weapons
war
once
viel
more.
zu anstrengend,
Most
weil die nur im
people are
Bunkern
pretty happy
waren.
about this, and I can't blame them. Just wouldn't feel like Chapter 2 with crazy mods on everything. One new change isn't exclusively for the season though. In fact, it'll only get better as Chapter 6 begins. The music pass for Festival's 6th season has now been revamped to use XP instead of points, meaning you can progress through it in any mode. So if you still want the Snoop skin but aren't a fan of Festival, you just need 25 levels to unlock it, meaning
Das ist ein
most
sehr
people
geiles
completed
Feature
it
und jetzt habt ihr
just
so
a
die
day.
Möglichkeit mit
But
Crew
Chapter 6
alle
drops
Battle
the
Pass zu
same will
kaufen,
happen
er
to both
sagt
the
es
Battle
jetzt eh.
Pass and Lego, all in an effort for Epic to push new modes without you being overwhelmed and unable to complete everything. Those are things secretly changed or removed in
richtig
Fortnite
gut.
Remix. It's been Tommy and keep it here.
Checkt
on
auf jeden Fall
Top
Top
5
5 Gaming ab und jetzt wird's noch kranker.
You know that when doing the howl emote, there used to be a chance that it would make this sound? Okay, that
Das
definitely
war eine
would
Million,
have caught
glaub
me
ich.
off guard. This is 50 secret changes in Fortnite, starting with the time when Fortnite secretly deleted a skin without telling anybody. This skin says dead game, but when
Okay.
you go into Lego mode, they changed it completely, and now it says best game. This was definitely a funny, weird
Das ist echt
change.
funny und
Almost
weird.
as funny as the time Fortnite made an April Fool's joke that tricked everybody. On April Fool's Day in 2018, players loaded up just to be shocked when using impulse grenades. Take a look.
Oh, guck mal, wie die abgehen jetzt. Das war so geil.
It sent them 10 times as far
Und
as
tot.
normal, even causing fall damage. I wish Fortnite still did these fun little trolls.
Und das am
But this
1.
next
April.
one wasn't really done on purpose, because Fortnite accidentally added an update that broke the game. This secret edition was hilarious to see, because in Chapter 3, on the right side of the island, there was a huge
Ah, ich
statue.
weiß, was jetzt
And this
kommt.
statue glitched one day,
Das war so
causing
lustig.
players to find out that you could actually use tires
das
to make this
wegfliegt.
thing
Das
fly.
konnte nicht real sein, als ich das gesehen habe. Was macht der da bitte? Ich habe dadurch auch ein paar Shorts gemacht. Okay, Leute, das war das Video für heute. Checkt auf jeden Fall PBJ und Top 5 Gaming ab. Die machen wirklich richtig geile Videos. Und schreibt mal in die Kommentare rein, ob ihr alle Dinge schon kanntet.